Hello everyone. I've been meaning to do this video for a while now, but keep getting interrupted. But I recently had an email from Amy, and she raised a couple of questions that have prompted me into action and require an answer. If I can quote from Amy's email, part of it says, "My big question is, would it all work better if the orange rollers, especially the top one, could be heavier to create more pressure? I loved the fact that I could crank down my top roller on my rolling machine, my other rolling machine, to create more pressure. I realise that would put a strain on the motoring cost of shipping, etc., but I'm just wondering if that could be an add-on, a heavy top roller." Now, there's a few questions and theories bundled up into that little paragraph, and I want to try and untangle it and deal with some of them and give Amy and everyone a good answer to the questions raised, because they are good questions. First of all, the subject of pressure. Pressure does not cause felt, and that might seem counterintuitive to some people who've always thought that pressure created felt. Pressure does not create felt, and I want to demonstrate that in two ways. I have here a little piece of superfine merino roving, I think it's called, and I'm going to put a little bit of water on it, and my demonstration requires, I'm going to do two demonstrations. One requires a little bit of imagination, and the other one doesn't require any imagination. I've wet my wool and pressure. Imagine if I put that between my thumb and forefinger and squeeze it as hard as possible for as long as possible, and then I let it go, will I have felt? The answer is no, I won't. It doesn't matter how much pressure I apply, and it would never turn to felt. Pressure does not create felt. On the other hand, if I take the same piece and I gradually massage it through my fingers with the slightest possible pressure, in fact I could do it in zero gravity if I could find a way to create zero gravity in my studio. But I'm just rolling that in my fingers, and maybe I'll be going 15 seconds or 20 seconds. Just rolling it gently, gently, no pressure. Excuse my shaking hand, no pressure. But after a little while, it's only been less than a minute, I'm starting to create felt. So with all the pressure in the world, I could not create felt, and with no pressure, I can create felt. There's my little felt bundle to prove it. And it's felted, it's holding together like felt. Needs a bit more work, but it's felt. Pressure doesn't create felt. What does create felt is what I call agitation. No, you're not seeing things. I have got changed because I wanted to insert a clearer explanation of what might seem semantics between pressure and agitation. But it's not semantics, it's a very important point. If you go down the path of pressure helping you to create felt, you limit yourself to the solution being, how do I apply more pressure? Now, we took a completely different philosophy and approach when we built the gentle roller, because adding pressure is a rather barbaric solution. The question is, how do you add agitation? And weight or pressure, if you like, is only one of the solutions. So I am about to show you how to increase the weight of your rollers, which potentially increases the felting efficiency. But we took another track, another path when we developed the gentle roller. And the things we did that were different. Soft polyurethane, so there's give. When there's give in the polyurethane and in the roller, as it's impacting on the felting bundle or the project, it's applying differential force, and the differential force creates agitation. The shape and the pattern on the idle rollers is not by accident. It's designed that way. Depending where your bundle is, as it rolls around the idle roller, it'll be making contact, pushing the fibres in one direction. An inch across to the side, the fibres are pushed in the opposite direction. If it's in between the patterns, the fibres are pushed one way, then pushed the other way. So we've created a pattern that creates agitation. The way the pivot hooks work is to specifically allow the idle rollers to dance as the rolling is taking place. The dancing creates a differential agitation. You're impacting and pressing and indenting on the felt bundle very differentially as it works, as it rotates. And the differential impact with the different points of contact creates different agitation. So rather than go down the path of pressure being the solution, which forces you into only one solution, more pressure or less pressure, we took a completely different approach. We removed the barbaric, we have to have pressure screw down clamps, and we took the approach of soft polyurethane, patterned polyurethane, dancing idle rollers. We took an approach of saying we want to create agitation, not pressure but agitation. Now, having said that, there is some evidence that if the rollers are slightly heavier than they are now, you will get slightly better agitation. Now, it comes with a word of warning. If you are working very fine felts and very long felts, the heavier roller will tend to felt the end of your item much quicker than the rest of your item, and you'll end up with differential quality in your felt. That's why, from our point of view, we settled on something we thought was an ideal compromise for all the different types of felts that are being made. If you're doing something that is much heavier, thicker material, and not as long in shape as a scarf, but a squarer piece of art or something, or a square garment, a smaller garment, then the heavier roller is probably suitable in those circumstances. So with that explanation, I hope it's clarified for you the direction we took and the reasons for it. But having said all of that, yes, depending on the piece you're using, a slightly heavier roller may be advantageous for you. But can you make a heavier top roller? Well, and Amy's question is, could I make it as an add-on, a heavy top roller? I don't need to make it as an add-on, because I'm going to show you two ways to make a heavy top roller for yourself if you wish to. So there's my end sealed with duct tape and full of water. I've added about 1 litre, just over 1 litre of water to the roller. So it's substantially heavier than it was before. It feels much heavier, and when it rests on the felt work, because it is heavier, it'll create more impression in the felt, and the impression will create agitation. The pressure doesn't do anything, but it will deflect the felt and create agitation, and the agitation will be beneficial. Now, I'm not overly precious about bastardizing my tools, and if anyone wants any spare end caps, I'll send them to End Cap free of charge. You just pay the freight postage, and you can have a couple of end caps to play around with if you want to try and pull them off or put them on. But some people are a bit precious about having done some damage to their device, or certainly visible damage they might not like. So there is another option. And if you put them on you'll find that they dance around a lot less because they're heavier and held in place more. Some of you who have found that the idle rollers tend to squeeze out the water will find that's even more prevalent with a heavier roller. It'll squeeze water out more, so each time you check it, you'll need to make sure your felt is moist. But the indentations onto your felting object, felting garment project, will be more pronounced. It'll create more agitation, and in theory will be more efficient or more effective at creating the felt quicker. If you're into quicker felt, it's never been a big issue for us, so we've never worried about it too much. Now, that's about where I'll leave it. Two solutions there for making a heavier roller. Using water, you could put sand in there instead of water if you want to. I should also add that I'm working on a different solution to a heavier roller to get that agitation, to increase the amount of agitation that is generated by the rolling machine and give you more efficient felting. And I'll have news on that hopefully within the next month or two. So with that, I think I've addressed Amy's queries. Pressure doesn't make felt, agitation does. Can I make a heavier roller? Yes, I can. I'm not going to make one to sell to you because you can easily do it yourself, and I've shown you two methods how. And good luck with doing the mods, be careful doing the mods. If you happen to ruin your end caps, like I said, don't panic. Just contact me and I'll get a couple underway to you. You can pay the postage, I'll give you the end cap for free. So with that, we will leave the video right there. Thanks for watching. Bye.